Austria. Dr. Das has received numerous awards and honor. To name a few, in November 2021, he received the award for the Best Director for Good Governance in Management Education. In the ASSOCHAM Summit of the EduBeam 2021 and Excellence Award Education and Skill Industry in September 2020, he received the ASSOCHAM Spirit of Self-Reliance Award at the Knowledge Management Virtual Meet on Skilling and Vocational Training and Awards. In February 2020, organized jointly by ASSOCHAM and Knowledge Chamber of Commerce and Industry at Ahmedabad. In December 2027, he was facilitated as Visionary Edu Leader of India, which by Shri Pranab Mukherjee, Honorable Past President, the Education President of India during Rethink India, the Fifth Estate, National Convention of Edu Leaders, Edu Entrepreneurs, and Higher Education held in Delhi. In January 2017, he received the award for one of Asia's 50 Great Leaders 2016. That's an amazing thing. In the Indo-Singapore Business Congress, Asia's Greatest Brand and Leaders 2016, organized by Asia One Magazine and US Media Consulting Private Limited in Singapore. In 2014, he received India Education Excellence Award for outstanding contribution to leadership development, and by Worldwide Achievers and Headlines Today at New Delhi. So I think, this list is so exhaustive. I don't think that, it is in an encyclopedia, and I don't think that I need to narrate all these things. You can see it on the screen also. So friends, I would like to hand it over to Dr. Jitendra Das for taking it forward, sir. And, stage is all yours. Thank you very much for listening to me, and God bless you. It's a beautiful winter, cold winter in Delhi, and wonderful weather. And I'm sure across nation, wherever you are all listening, you're having a great time with this weather, as well as the meeting that we are hosting. Thank you very much.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Sujilji, for the closing remarks.
So,
Dr. Das, over to you.
Sir, are you there, sir? I can see you. We just saw your video also. So the stage is all yours, sir.
I'm just calling him.
yeah.
Probably his resume was so long that, he took some time off. I would urge participants to make it very interactive, because the learning session is that your key takeaway should be there. Every small spark, every small hope ignites and carves out a different future for us. Dr. Das?
Yeah.
Sir.
Mr. Agarwal, thank you so much for a very detailed introduction. I was very much there all along. I had not taken time off. Only thing is, on the screen, for some reason, my control on mute and control on video was not visible. So I wanted to come, because I logged in and I was very much there. And suddenly I found everything gone. Now I found it back. So I'm very much, thank you so much for
Welcome, Dr. Das.
inviting me to this session, and hopefully things should work out well. So shall we start?
Yes, sir. Go ahead, sir.
Do we have Mr. Mohammed Nadeem and Mr. Yogesh Kapur and Mr. Ustav Dikshit? I saw the names of all three, so I know all the three are here. They should turn on their video and audio if they can.
Yeah, request them to turn on their videos.
Mr. Nadeem is there, Mr. Yogesh Kapur?
Yeah, all of them have turned on their videos. Sir. So,
hello, morning.
Mr. Dikshit? Yeah. And Mr. Dikshit is there?
Yes, good morning.
Hey, good morning. Okay. Right. So can we, do we need
we can start.
Here now? Can that be taken off, the session one? Yeah, okay. Yeah. So thank you very much. Let me thank the CII for having this summit. It's always been a pleasure to be associated with CII events, and I do remember Mr. Nadeem in the last time I was here with him. It's very enlightening to listen to some of these very learned speakers. So we have this session one on this packaging summit, which is themed on technology, innovation, and sustainability. And this particular session is being titled Smart Packaging. Now, smart packaging is very important from the packaging perspective. And since I have been a professor of marketing at the IIM Lucknow for many years, so we have always given enough emphasis to packaging. I don't have time to give you examples of how packaging can change the pricing strategy of a product. So nonetheless, we have the three very learned speakers with us in Mr. Mohammed Nadeem. He has over 25 years of experience in the flexible packaging industry, working in India and the USA. He holds a master's degree in industrial and systems engineering from Ohio University and an executive MBA from Kellogg. He has authored several papers in technical journals. He began his career with packaging dynamics and advanced through several roles in strategic planning, operations, finance, and sales and marketing. He worked for Alcan Packaging and TEDx before joining Paharpur 3P. And Mr. Mohammed Nadeem, currently he is the Chief Executive Officer of Paharpur 3P. So we welcome Mr. Mohammed Nadeem to this seminar, and thank you for being with us. We also have Mr. Yogesh Kapur. He is the Executive Vice President and Business Head Holography Business with the UFlex Limited. Mr. Kapur is an accomplished industry leader with 30 plus years of domestic and international experience in operations management, profit center management, B2B marketing and sales, and strategic planning in the management of both startups and growth organizations. Prior to UFlex, he has held leadership positions with 3M India in different countries at various ranks for more than 2 decades. He started his career with HCL Infosystems and was associated with the company for 4 years. A bachelor in engineering in electronics and telecommunication from NIT, Mr. Yogesh has done his executive development program from IIM Bangalore. His role at UFlex, he leads the company's holography business. Very pleased to have you, Mr. Kapur, with us, and thank you for being with us this morning. We also have Mr. Utsav Dikshit. He is Head of Sustainability and Strategic Engagement at Alpla India. Mr. Dikshit is an Assistant General Manager at Alpla India and is responsible for strategic sales engagement, recycling, and sustainability. He has a BS in Mechanical Engineering from the University of Illinois at Urbana-Champaign and worked at Deloitte Consulting LLP's Chicago and San Francisco offices in technology strategy for government, telecom, high-tech, mergers and acquisition, and healthcare industries for 6 years. Mr. Dikshit serves as the Global Learning Chair of Young President Organization, Next Generation, a group of 15,000 plus members that develops the next generation of leaders by accelerating personal and professional growth. Thank you, Mr. Dikshit, for being with us this morning. I'm really very happy to welcome the three very learned speakers in this session to share their views on packaging, which is so important, particularly for, from my own perspective, being a marketing student all along, from the marketing perspective. The packaging does indicate the valuation that the consumer or the maybe even the industrial buyer they have in mind before they actually start using the product. And in the current times, with the focus on technology, which is what also in this session we are trying to give, when we talk of smart packaging, when somebody says smart packaging, I always reminisce my old experience way back in 1995, 96 exactly. When in Toronto, I sent my passport to a New York office for visa endorsement, and it was a prepaid thing. And this is 1996. And then the package was to come back, and they had told us that you can track your passport. And then I was able to track through internet. This is 1996. You should know that the flow of my passport package at different stages. And at the passport office at the border, it stayed there for about 16 hours, which I was able to see. That was amazing. So for me to know that how one could do this kind of a tracking in 1996 was an amazing experience. And of course, I got it back. I mean, it was delivered to my home. I was not at home. And then there was a sticker on my door that you go to the nearest post office and you can pick it up from there. So I went to the nearest post office, which is the government post office, and I picked up the FedEx, or I think it was FedEx, passport package from there. So that was the kind of a packaging where they were able to track the movement of the item at different stages, and they were able to put it on the internet, which I was able to access and see. Now, this is way back in 1996. Now, today in 2021, we have moved a long way ahead, and we are talking of IoT, Internet of Things, where the material, the package can itself be technology enabled, and we can do a whole lot of things with the information that can be shared. So in this context, we not only talk of smart packaging, but we talk something like intelligent packaging, active packaging, or connected packaging. Sometimes people say that consumer or the prospective recipient of the package must be able to communicate with the package in the sense that when the package moves from location A to location B, or in whatever way, the system automatically captures the state of the package, and the consumer can do a lot of things, including diverting the package to a different location before it reaches the consumer. So this is what we are talking of today in terms of a packaging being termed intelligent packaging or active packaging and connected packaging. And to top it all, in the current times, we are talking of blockchain technology. So blockchain technology, for example, I'll give you an illustrative example. Let's say I have an apple which I'm buying delivered to my home, and that apple has a small a QR code pasted on it. And through my phone, I can get the URL, and I can see the entire background of the apple right from the location, the tree from where it was plucked. It has a geospatial time span, which is implanted there on the website using blockchain technologies. It cannot be tampered. So I know for sure this particular apple, which has been delivered to me at my home, has been plucked from which tree to the extent of that, and on what date and what time, and then what date and what time it is being delivered to me. Now, from marketing point of view, based on the time lapsed between the plucking of the fruit to the delivery of the fruit, I can program a pricing for it. So more fresh it is higher price, and the more delayed it is of a lower price. It can be all pre-programmed. So through a QR code, I can check the price also. This is how things have changed in the world today, and there's a lot of business to be made, not only in terms of the companies who are marketing goods through packaging, but also the packaging companies, because it's becoming such a specialized field. There's a whole lot of business that can be done only by specializing in packaging technology. So without taking much time on this, let me invite Mr. Mohammed Nadeem to share his views. And in the interest of time, I think if we all take just about 12 minutes to share their views, we would be able to complete the session on time by 12 or 12:05 the time allotted to us. So over to Mr. Nadeem, please.
Thank you, Dr. Das. It is very nice to see you again after a few years.
Yeah.
I was listening to your opening lines here, and I think you've already given my presentation, so I don't even have to bother. But you're right on about everything, how the technology has evolved, and how the apple is being tracked, or what you're saying today in several countries. A package of meat or a package of cheese or a package of fresh product is tracked through time, and as the time evolves, the pricing on it changes. And so after 3 days, the same tray of meat is not being sold for $1; it's less than $1, and so on and so forth. So you're absolutely hitting the nail on the head, and that's fantastic that that you set me up for that for my presentation. So before I start, again, my thanks to CII for hosting me and allowing me the opportunity to speak with you guys. And I always love my interactions with you, Mr. Das, or rather Dr. Das. So this is fantastic. I'll go ahead and line up my presentation here. Is that visible?
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Okay. Super. I'll try to keep it under 12 minutes. So I'll quickly walk through this. There's only 13, 14 slides, and I'll pass through them really fast. And I've tried to keep them very non-technical so that it's easy to walk through them. Just a quick there we go. So Paharpur, for those who are not familiar with the group, we are known for our cooling tower solutions. So we make small cooling towers for businesses, factories, malls, up to large cooling towers, such as nuclear power plants. Matter of fact, we're busy putting one together currently in Bangladesh. We also do flexible packaging, renewable energy, solar, wind, and so on and so forth, timber and forestry, and real estate. So I'm associated with the flexible packaging business, which is located in 3 sites, one here in Saibabad, one in Menace, and one in Sri City. We have roughly about 40,000 tons of capacity, and we, in packaging business, we employ about 1,000 people. 70% of what we do is used in food packaging, and the rest is used in home and personal care and other similar products. So I'll jump to smart packaging, which is one of the topics that we are going to discuss today. And as Dr. Das mentioned, the term intelligent packaging or smart packaging is talking about the systems or packaging systems which are used in food and pharmaceutical and many other industries to extend shelf life, to monitor freshness, the time gap that you mentioned, how, when the apple was plucked and when it was delivered, to display information on quality, or to improve safety and overall to improve convenience. So smart packaging could be a functional package. It could be active packaging, intelligent packaging, control, release, and modified atmosphere, which is also called MAP. Then it gets into nanocomposites, which has a lot of functionality improvements, benefits. And then radio frequency identification and ultimately edible packaging. So I'll walk through some of those examples rather than talk about technologies per se. So here are some older examples. Everybody's familiar with coffee bags, the coffee that you buy shelf, either ground coffee or just the beans. And the bag is designed, or the pouch is designed to handle the volatile gases that come out of the product. So the bag or the pouch has to be able to release those gases, at the same time maintain the aroma of coffee. And this could be accomplished by a simple valve or filter for the product. So this is, basic 101 of, a smart package. We could also tinker with the package itself, where we can add unique materials so that they can fight bacteria or microbial growth in certain food where we are worried about insects and so on and so forth. So that can be involved right in the packaging itself. Some of the other intelligent packaging, for example, labels that are deployed on the meat tray or cheese or any other food product, and allows you to or gives you the information on is that product good for consumption or not? And then you can have green light signals, or you can have other type of color-coded symbols to tell the consumer the status of that product. And as I mentioned, nanocomposites, they can replace all the multiple layers that we use in our flexible packaging. So we could take a multi-layered flexible packaging with polyester, foil, and PP, and so on and so forth, and just replace it with one layer of nanocomposite. And that helps with so many things, including cost. Now, RFID, which is radio frequency identification, is getting to that. It started with what Dr. Das was mentioning about tracking his passport. And nowadays, you actually don't even have to track the package itself. The passport itself could be tracked, and because it has a chip inside it. And these tags are basically, as you can see in the top left, it's a very simple technology. On the bottom right, you can see it's a RFID tag is basically a label with an antenna, which could be printed, and with a microchip that is programmed to provide certain information. Now, everybody's familiar with FASTag. In India, we use it to go through the tolls. And it's essentially an RFID. That's basically what it is. So it has the information of who the tag owner is, and your bank account information, or the amount of money that is on that tag. So you could code specific information on RFID to be able to use it in those specific ways. Now, this is also being used in food packaging, for example. You could have it affixed on a bottle, or a can, or a tray, or on the food itself. And then you can program it to get that specific information. So if you want to know the oxygen level or CO2 level in a food product, or the time lag, as Dr. Das mentioned, on the apple, or the temperature or other conditions. So you could track that, and you don't have to be standing right next to it. So depending on the type of tag you have, you could do that. You could actually build that into the packaging itself. So you could have it embedded into multiple layers of your plastic packaging, or several other ways of embedding these. You could print that into your packaging product. Here's a very good example. On the left, you can see a very simple tag, which is not really a hardware. It is essentially a software. It's printed. And this is designed to track the temperature on, in this case, salad, or a box of salad, which is supposed to stay below 8 degrees Celsius. Or you can have it tagged in a way where you can track the freshness of the eggs. And after certain days, those prices then, as you mentioned, start to go down. There's wonderful use in supply chain, and this is the example that you were talking about, Dr. Das, where we can have RFID tag on a product at the factory, and as it goes through the distribution center and then to the store, in your case, to the post office and to your house or anywhere, you could track it, because it's relaying that specific information that you have programmed it for. And another good example for this is COVID vaccines. So in the US, for example, Pfizer and Moderna had to be stored at ultra cold temperatures of -60 to -90 degrees Celsius. If it goes below that, the vaccine is no good. So they were able to embed those RFID tags on the boxes and the vial itself, so that it can track at what temperature it is, where it is being transported to, which location it is on, which district it is, which hospital it is in, which cooler it is in, and so on and so forth, and all the while giving the information on time and temperature, which was the key condition. So there's so many different ways to use smart packaging technology to our effect. One of the things that, in the beginning, somebody was talking about the recycling part of the business. And these RFID chips or printed RFID could be embedded on, let's say, a carton of milk. And, you can then track it through when it goes to the grocery store. And when the consumer has actually picked it up, and when he's done with it, he recycles it into the recycle bin and then travels to the recycling center and then send a signal to the manufacturer that, okay, it has reached the recycling part, so now you can make another one. And you can replenish your stocks in such a way. At the same time, you can track the recycling portion of the business. So these are the kind of things that RFID could be used for. Now, the ultimate packaging, or the packager is God. I mean, he has created a package that we just yearn to achieve. And here's a package, and in the inside, the package is so great that you can eat the package, you can transport in that package, and it provides security to the product inside the package. It grows with the package. So if the product grows, the packaging grows. And all it requires is just simple wash with the water, and you can consume it with the product. So that would be the ultimate packaging. And of course, God is the ultimate creator for everything. We have come close to replicating that, in certain cases where the packaging itself could be consumed with the product, and hence you have nothing to recycle, nothing goes to waste, and everything is consumed the way it is supposed to be. And scientists are growing skin in the lab. I mean, like, skin is another good example of perfect smart packaging. And if we can grow skin in the lab, we can definitely grow portions of whatever the product is in the lab to take care of the smart packaging of those products, and take out the secondary, tertiary, and all those packaging and recycling issues. And all that is left is the product itself. So I hope this sparks some thoughts in people, and takes us to those levels where we the smartest packaging is the product itself. Back to you, Dr. Das.
Okay, yeah, thank you. Thank you for a wonderful presentation. And when I saw the last slide with an apple, I was trying to say whether you made that last slide after I gave the example of an apple so quickly.
I told you already gave my presentation before I even started.
Wonderful, wonderful. Very enlightening. And, the way things are changing, and they're changing so fast that, we need to be really up to speed on these new developments. So thank you, Mr. Nadeem, for a wonderful presentation. And now let's invite Mr. Yogesh Kapur for his presentation. And again, Mr. Kapur, if you can do it in about 10 minutes, 12 minutes, that'll be great. Yeah, thank you. Mr. Kapur.
Sure, Dr. Das. First and foremost, thank you so much for giving us this opportunity. I hope you can hear me, right?
Yeah, sure.
Excellent. Thank you. I was actually very, seriously going through when, your resume was being pulled out. It's absolutely just fabulous. It's so great to sharing the stage with you, though it's, online, but it's always good to meet the dons of the respective industry and share views with you. So really appreciate that. Thanks to CII for giving me this opportunity. And I, without taking a lot more time, I would preferably spend my time on my presentation. So let me, if my presentation can be brought up. Let me see. How do I get that? Okay, Should I bring that up? And
Mr. Kapur, you want it to be run by us, or you would like to do it?
can you see this now?
Yeah,
Yeah,
now,
yeah.
now it's there. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Visible.
Is this good enough?
Yeah. Yeah. Good.
All right. So let me quickly, so for those who've not heard, I'm working for UFlex as the business head and executive vice president for the holography business. So in my short 10, 12 slides, which I have today, I want to bring in another perspective, and I joined in a little earlier, and one of the speakers earlier, I think the head of the gentleman who gave thanks, was talking about jo dikta hai wo bikta hai, kind of perspective, and we come in from there, and I was thinking as to, how do we amalgamate what is visible with digital and try and see, is that the best way forward? So I bring in a perspective from the brand side, Dr. Das, and so I will share my views on what are we looking at, and I've the way I've my presentation goes about is a bit about UFlex, a bit about what the business we are in, and some details about what level the securities have been going on a packaging to make it further smarter, and then some food of thought on few of the questions. That's what I have. So I'll go ahead with my presentation on this. So a little bit about UFlex. It was established in about 1985, and one of the largest multinational in flexible packaging materials. And now we are slowly and steadily positioning ourselves as a global polymer science company. It's a $1.2 billion company now, as per sales results released last year. We are one of the largest companies engaged in the holography, which is the anti-counterfeiting and brand image building organization. We have a manufacturing unit now in 8 countries, so truly multinational. The last one which came on board was in Nigeria. So prior to that, we are operating from Mexico, Poland, US, Egypt, Dubai, Russia. So we continue to focus on how do we spread our footprints and take the product closer to the customer, where the customer is, and operate there. That's the philosophy of our chairman. The division which I belong to is called Holography, but essentially what we are doing is we are working with providing state-of-the-art packaging solutions which help the customers, which are the end users or the companies which are packaging their the products in that, to not only enhance the brand, but also to ensure that the brands are protected from counterfeiting. Our solutions are all focused on that. So our solutions go on flexibles, our solutions go on cartons, labels, and the good part about the holography business is we are a very, very dependable partner, because most of our raw materials and the manufacturing setup is all in-house. Like others which buy the raw materials and then do the mastering inside, or get the mastering done outside and do just the printing in-house. We've got right from raw materials to mastering to printing to everything done in-house. So that's where the importance of counterfeiting comes in, or anti-counterfeiting comes in. How are we able to make sure that none of the solutions which we are using on the products are being able to be replicated by counterfeiters? And in that line, we have a lot of product ranges. I would mainly talk, so majority of us of our sales is holograms. We've got into the pharma side. That's another. We all know that pharma is an area where the majority of counterfeiting happens, and that is one where every pharmaceutical company struggled, and more so it got aggravated during the COVID times. When everybody was wanting medicines right across, and everything sold which was there on the shelf, people were not able to distinguish whether the product was original or product was counterfeit, and we continue to see that in our everyday life. Any product which becomes famous, or a product where the costing is high, is very prone to counterfeiting. Also along with that, we have our track and trace solutions, a whole range of it, be it the 2D, be it the RFID. We are in a position to provide that. Mr. Nadeem earlier was talking about the RFID fast tag. We've been closely associated with that for now more than a year, and have been providing solutions along with our partners in ensuring the fast tag solutions, because at one point of time there's a huge demand, and how do we make sure that the product met not only the demand but also was effective, and let's before we get into the smart packaging, I think we've got to understand how big is the menace of counterfeiting. We all talk about it. I think we all know about it. We've heard it at various stages in our professional life, but there's very few data points which are available. But this is something which I could pull out from the Google and from whatever material I had available. If you look at it, it's right across the spectrum. The menace of counterfeiting, it's affecting our industry. Imagine pharmaceutical, 35% fake drugs. Now, imagine if those the impact it has not only financially, but the impact it has on the health. What the product is supposed to do is not being able to do because somebody is putting in a different product into something which is never going to perform. And look at the losses. We're talking about thousands of crores of losses out here. Similarly is the auto component, very, very eye-opening, 34 to 38% there. Publishing, losing 30 million every year. Alcoholic beverages, 70% estimated losses. Pesticides, seeds, you name it, we see it everyday usage. The more the products are visible, more the products are used, the more they are prone to being counterfeited. Now, look at the other side of it. Look at the social impact part of it, the economic and the social part of it. Not only are the companies losing the sale, not only are the consumers getting affected, but it's, leading to a lot of job losses. The reputation which a company loses. Another thing which we've seen recently as part of our analysis of the market is customers are willing to change. And what has brought in that change? The e-commerce has brought in that change. They're willing to experiment. They're willing to try different things. So the moment, a brand, it might be a very famous brand. The moment a brand does not perform the way it is supposed to perform, or give them the right, the benefit or the pleasure or whatever, the customer is willing to switch. and not to forget the reputation damage. So if there are collateral products which are there of the customer, those also get affected. So the damage is not small. The tax loss, which is huge. Let's talk about the liquor business or the pan masala gutka business. The kind of tax losses which the government suffers because if somebody else is selling the counterfeit product, the taxes, the revenues go down drastically. And last but not the least, this money which comes in free is funding criminal activities, going into narcotics, laundering, terrorism. It's got a huge impact. What I'm trying to point out here is counterfeiting is not only is got an impact on the companies, it's got an impact on a social media, it's got an impact on social life, on our everyday lives. And as per one estimate, about $4.2 trillion is lost and will be lost in 2022 in counterfeiting. So that's the quantum of money. Imagine the kind of, if this money lands up in unethical hands, what it can do. Quickly going as to, so the question is, okay, I want my brand protected. These are the questions which are being asked by the brand manager today. And this is, my personal interaction with few of the brand managers recently, and I was asking them the question as to, what do you really need in your packaging, and how's the industry shaping up? Are we in tune with what's happening? And pretty interestingly, the few first things were, the first few points on the top were very, very understandable. You want the packaging to be functional, you want it to be aesthetically likable, you want it to stand out in the shelf where it is kept, it should be appealing to the customer. And what you rightly said, Dr. Das, it should communicate. The packaging has to communicate with the mass customer base. It has to tell us what is it in it, when was it packed, what are the ingredients in it. So there's a communication which happens. But one of the other things which surprisingly came in was the last one, which we talked about protecting brand from counterfeiting. Interestingly, about a couple of years back when I joined UFlex, and I was talking to a few brand managers about counterfeiting and what is the impact. Everybody knows there is counterfeiting of their product, which is happening because their products are so famous. But none of the brand manager ever accepted it because it would give a different reputation, or it might do away with the consumers because they are not aware as to whether the product is what they're buying is original or not original. But now this realization is coming in because they've kind of realized the losses and the impact it can have in repeat buying, in the word of mouth promotion is significant. So it's better to put it on the table. Earlier, this was never on the table. Now it's getting on the table. And why is it? Because a lot of things have been made different because of e-commerce. Earlier when we were doing shopping in the mall, we picking up the product.
Mr. Dixit, 15 minutes you have taken so far.
Oh, okay. So I'll quickly go. So things have changed because of the consumer preferences, and these are all there. And the other thing which is really exciting the industry or making them change is the retail margins are getting compressed. So we got to understand what the brand manager wants. And then there are this intelligent packing solutions which are all there using overt, covert, and a lot of digital solutions. I'll not go into details of that, but those are areas people think that oh, hologram is a hologram, or a void label is a void label, a lens is a lens. But what I'm just trying to show in this slide is over a period of time, they have evolved. On the left-hand side and in the lower part of the slide, you'll see the ones which are become now very common, which used to be hidden text, color changing backgrounds. A lot of things have come into that security side. And here are my two slides, which are food for thought for the audience today. And I continue to think. So we all have credit cards, right? And we've seen Visa card, we've seen MasterCards and all that. My point today to the audience is, why is it that despite digital security coming in, the companies are still talking about security features which are visible security features. When all the things are on are in real time, still they want the digital features, the label features, be it the hologram, be it a flying bird, on the cards. And my understanding is it's got not only the visual appeal, but people want to know through the visual features that whether that's a original or not an original card. Coming to same thing on the liquor side. Somebody help me why we have to still put a label across the cap of a liquor bottle? Why is it that just a digital print of a 2D or a QR code is not good enough, or an RFID is not good enough? I think it has got to do with our buying habits, and it's got to do with the fact that how much time are we spending in the market to buy a product? Please understand that, when I'm going there and I'm scanning, there are multiple choices I have, and I want to know within few seconds whether the product is authentic or not. And that's the reason why today, those features continue to be put in there. So my last slide, the fact that there are technologies evolved over a period of time. My take, or my give to the audience today is, you've got to use a combination of overt, covert, and digital features today if you have to connect with the customer. Things have evolved over a period of time, but customer today still wants to see physical evidence of authentic product. Dr. Das, I'm sorry if I've taken a little longer time, but as you know, we are all passionate about our stuff, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
Thank you so much. And I'll just, can that be taken back?
You have to unshare. It could be on the top of your screen somewhere. You put your cursor on top. Yeah, okay, it's gone.
It's gone? All right.
Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Kapur, so much for giving it a very different perspective to the packaging, which is essentially, the ensuring genuineness or the authenticity of the product. And the last example that you gave of liquor bottles, having that little sticker on it is absolutely on the top. People would be very conscious of the genuineness of the item that they are buying. Only one concern I have, when you have a holograph or any of those things, if the hologram is not understood in terms of this is the hologram of this company, then any hologram can be construed as the true hologram of the company's product. So the counterfeit activities can still continue with a hologram, which means a counterfeit hologram is fixed on the product, and the buyer is not aware that this hologram is a counterfeit hologram. So how do you ensure the issues concerning this? So maybe we can take it up later on. But that's a very interesting perspective on packaging, which is essentially saying that the packaging which is coming to you is this the one which is supposed to come to you? So that's the important aspect, which is very important also from a marketing point of view. And a counterfeit operation bleeds the company. So company needs to be absolutely very sure the items which is going are the genuine products. And which is very alarming, what you said, 20% growth rate in the counterfeit products is actually very alarming. And companies must move over to a technology domain to ensure the genuineness of the product. And the blockchain technology is one such aspect, and the cost of a RFID chip or any of these IoT chip is really going down. It may come down to a few paisa each of those little things which can be put on the each of those individual products. So and then deploy blockchain to ensure everything is in order. So therefore, essentially, a buyer would have to just scan the QR code and gets to know anything and everything. With the all the information is tamper-proof. So therefore, the genuineness is ensured. So maybe the next level for the hologram that you are trying to do has to move towards blockchain, where it's not the physical verification, but the technology-enabled verification that can ensure the genuineness of the product. So thank you, Mr. Kapur, for enlightening us on this new perspective.
Dr. Das, just to give you an example, so we are actually marrying, technology in the holographic space.
Yeah.
Be it the RFID, be it the 2D, and that's why I said, covert, overt, and digital needs to combine, because a person needs to understand whoever is buying. Because also the other side of the story is, Dr. Das, how much time do we have every time to scan that code? How many times have you seen while you and me are shopping? People have actually picked up the product and have scanned the code. It's only when they do not feel that the product is genuine, they do that. So that initial confidence of just picking up the product from the shelf needs to be there. I'll leave it at that.
Yeah, absolutely. Very true, very true. Because the consumer comfort is very important, and friction in the buying process must be reduced. Asking a consumer to scan the QR code is inducing friction in the buying process. So we need to understand that. Yeah, thank you, Mr. Kapur. Now it's about 11:55 now. Now let's invite Mr. Utsav Dikshit. Maybe if you could contain yourself to less than 12 minutes, that will be great, Mr. Dikshit. So over to Mr. Dikshit.
Yes, sure. Thank you so much, Mr. Das, and also like to thank Yogesh ji as well as Nadeem ji for basically sharing what is now every slide of my presentation. I think very insightful. I'd like to thank CII for giving the opportunity for me to speak. I get a chance to speak at every packaging summit on whatever is the new nascent hot topic that may not have hit the market, but is a potential problem. Last year it was recycling. Now recycling has hit the market. So next one it is smart packaging. So very exciting. Just give me 1 second while I pull up my screen. Let me know if you can see it. Are you able to see it in full screen, sir? Just give me a thumbs up if you can.
It's very much there. Yeah, looks good.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
So I'll try and keep it as quickly as possible. I know we want to end as close to noon as possible. My name is Utsav Dikshit. I run the recycling and sustainability activities for Hive India, as well as strategic engagement for sustainability-led topics for Hive. Some background for Alpla Global. We are in the rigid packaging space. We are focused in bottles, tubes, closures, injection blow molding, decoration, inline filling as well, packaging systems. We are a family-owned company, so 60 plus years. Austrian-based company. We are in 178 production sites, 45 countries, 21,000 plus employees. In India, we have 9 plants. 2 of them are in-house. We have a technical center and a mold shop in India as well. And these are our principles when it comes to delivering to the market. Our production technologies are extrusion blow molding, injection stretch blow molding, injection molding, as well as injection blow molding. So we are in the rigid packaging space. This is just a view of how globally we are spread out on the production sites, as well as technical centers which are really the centers where smart packaging type innovations come out of. We have one in Hyderabad as well. That's our TC in India, as well as our mold shop. And these are the market segments that we deliver to: beverages, food, milk and dairy, beauty care, home care, oil and lubricants, pharma, crop protection. Each one of these is actually applicable when it comes to the topic of smart packaging. And then this is our presence in India. So we have all the technologies. We've been around in India since 2006. These are our key segments and the spread of our plants. Now coming to smart packaging, I think all of our speakers have rightly already highlighted on the supply chain side applications of smart packaging. Won't dwell too much here. I'll take my time only to highlight what is a delta, what is net new from what has not been shared so far. One of the applications in retail which I didn't hear worth pointing out is targeting specific consumer needs. So if a consumer is allergic to a certain item, you can address that right away. Shelf life tracking. So you have certain materials that can start to spot like bananas, and they start to erode or give that view of erosion while they're on the shelf. So that will provide the quality assurance and shelf life tracking that actually reduces your employees, right? Reducing your cost through automation. So the employees are not replaced, but they can now focus on something of higher value, and then that shelf becomes a smart shelf overall. So retail is very exciting. At home, same thing, expiry date. So your automated shopping list can now be updated if you are tagging. So you are now running out of milk, you're now running out of this juice, and then your products can get to reorder themselves in the smart IoT fridge. Very exciting. Pharmaceuticals, you can now get a reminder function if you're running low on tablets as well, and then recipe suggestions as well. On the packaging side, I'll share some of the work that we're doing for rigid packaging on the bottles or caps. I completely agree with Yogesh ji. The anti-counterfeit market is huge. I pinned down a couple of other facts that were not there on your presentation, sir. So the spend for anti-counterfeit or to tackle this is 285 billion according to Kafid Group as of 2020. So that's a huge number. In pharma, about 1 million people die each year from counterfeit pharma medication. So this is from Interpol. So this itself is enough for us to say any smart packaging solution is worth looking for. What are we doing in Alpla? One of the I'd like to highlight from the rigid packaging side. So one is integration solutions to protect against counterfeiting. So these are features directly integrated into the packaging during the production process, like it's the DNA, right? They can be overt or covert taggants. They have specialized scanners that you can scan to verify. Of course, all of this is expensive, and the taggants serve as the DNA for, or the unique fingerprint for the product. It requires a lab method for identification, extremely secure. Marketing at the POS is possible. This is in pilot stage right now, in development. It hasn't reached the market yet. It requires, from a production standpoint, the master batch dosing system, and of course the special scanner. And the technologies that this can be applied to are injection stress flow molding. You're seeing an EBM bottle here, but you can also see injection stretch flow molding and injection molding as well. And then you also have RFID, which is a covert tagging solution. So you can have simple tagging or as serialization as well. This is a project that we have worked with along with a technology supplier, and you can see once you tag it at the bottom right, how it's able to read the DNA. So again, this is expensive stuff. The moment we present something like this in India, questions around cost come around here. But we are in early stages of smart packaging, and there are some suppliers that are providing some of these solutions: Avient, Gabriel Chemi, Constab, Cafrit, Ampersec, Finky, etc. So these are the master batch suppliers that are available as well. Of course, we've spoken a lot about films, holographs. I won't take too much time here, but this is, of course, QR code on the decoration that can help communicate with the customer and with the consumer as well. Smart packaging doesn't just have to be digital, right? My original hypothesis, sir, was that smart packaging is at the interface of atoms and bits, but you can have an atoms to atoms discussion around smart packaging as well, because when it comes to anti-counterfeit, just within the molding process, you can have this one right here is the cap, which has the certain features on the outer appearance on the spout or the cap, so that it's difficult to duplicate. You can also do bi-injection or tri-injection, depending on where your budget is at, to make sure that you have the molding process designed in a way that no one else can actually replicate your product or your cap. So smart is not just, in my opinion, atoms to bits, it's also atoms to atoms, right? There's one example of an innovation that we are doing on the rigid plastic side. It's called Rebel. So this is one where within the mold itself, we are able to have a unique appearance. You can add the logo of the class customer. You can add a QR code. You can add certain surface designs within the mold that are very difficult or close to impossible for someone else to replicate, which again tackles the counterfeit issue. There's a short video that I'll play. Let me know if you can see it clearly. So that's the Alpla Rebel, and you have gloss and structure. You can add QR codes and things like that, and this makes it difficult for your counterfeit, suppliers. So and just a view of the QR code. Some exciting applications of smart packaging that caught my eye. I already spoke about this, but the banana-like indication that shows when a medicine is no longer safe to take. So this is a function by material. Your chip on the top right, it can display, it can be used for various functions at the shelf, expiry date, reordering based on date. On the cold chain, you can also indicate when the cold chain is broken for the supply chain. This is through printed electronics. And then thermo ink technology. So when you have a beverage that is at the optimum temperature or the color changes at different temperatures, is also very exciting. Coca-Cola example here. And then what excites me more about smart packaging is not just the interaction with the consumer, but how it fits in the ecosystem overall, right? Because if it, we all heard about the Amazon grocery store. Now, if you have that integrated with the smart packaging, then your Amazon account knows everything about what you're taking in and out. And so that fits in really well, also fits in with your fridge. And so if you look at the entire journey, there's a company called Digimark. They mapped it end to end, all the way from manufacturing down to your home. What are the different points online when you're production monitoring, enhanced inventory management, retail distribution center, picking and packing, at the retail store, how you create brand awareness. At the point of sale, you have easier checkout, less strain on the cashiers, and then at home, you access the rich brand content. So that's, Digimark has captured kind of a good summary of what the smart packaging would be. I would say the only downsides, I work day in and day out in recycling. If you have chips, if you have complicated master batches, RFID, things like these within the label, doing trials and seeing how they fit within the recycling stream to make sure that you still have a circular economy. That is something not yet we've done at a large scale in terms of trials. So that's one thing we need to do. And the second thing is finding cost-effective solutions because India will always, always, always have an issue of cost. And a lot of these smart packaging things sound expensive for low tonnage. To bring it to large volume will require us to innovate on the cost aspect as well. So these are the only two downsides. Smart packaging is about the ecosystem, so not just the package itself, but also the process of development. So we have a process of virtual development with VR. You go to the grocery store there and you look at the first moment of truth, what that would look like as you're in the design process. You can compare designs, technical performance, all in a virtual setting. And then what that does is you invest in one final tool, so your cost overall goes down on the production development process, and then eventually that translates down to the package itself, and also increases the speed to market. So that's another item I think that wanted to spend on, and that's about it, folks. I hope I took no more than 10 minutes. I'd like to thank CII. It's always wonderful sharing new ideas, learning from other speakers, and then Das sir, your resume is so fantastic. Just being here is an honor for myself. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Dikshit, for a absolutely new perspective given to the packaging. I was actually not so much aware of this. It's like, embedding the security aspect in the packaging itself, not an external thing, but it is embedded. And of course, a lot of technology would be involved, and that ensures a better protection of the genuineness of the goods than putting in an additional chip or something on it. So, and I like your statement that smart packaging need not mean atom to digital or digit, but atom to atom. That means the packaging itself is smart, and you have very wonderfully displayed how the packaging technology itself can be made to a level where it is almost impossible for someone to counterfeit it. And not only in terms of the material and the way you finish the packaging, but also on top of it, you put the QR code or the logo on the packaging itself, which is a wonderful way of looking at it. We also have a situation where there is what I call superfluous packaging done, and we also need to address that from the sustainability point of view, because you do look into the sustainability aspect. Like for example, when we buy toothpaste, the toothpaste is inside a cardboard box. Now, why do we need a cardboard box for putting a toothpaste? Because it itself has a wonderful packaging, very protective packaging for a toothpaste. But then I don't know for what reason we have a cardboard box for packaging the toothpaste. So that's not a sustainable packaging for the toothpaste. And there are many similar products. So I'm sure you being the sustainable manager or looking into this aspect, maybe you'll put this point across that we should not get engaged into what we call the superfluous packaging. So that was a wonderful take by you, Mr. Dikshit, and I'm really enlightened when I heard the three of you, Mr. Nadeem, Mr. Kapur, and Mr. Dikshit. Very enlightening session in terms of the way we need to look at the packaging in the current times. We looked at how the technology can be put into the packaging, the RFID or the blockchain. We also looked at the hologram and the smart hologram to ensure the genuineness of the product, and also Mr. Dikshit Alpala's initiative in terms of making the packaging itself smart. So we have had three different perspectives on the smart packaging, and it was truly a very enlightening session. We have run out of time, and I don't know whether we can do a Q&A. There's no time for Q&A. So I think we can close this session, and I would like to thank the three speakers, particularly Mr. Mohammed Nadeem, Mr. Yogesh Kapur, and Mr. Utsav Dikshit, for a wonderful session that they took and enlightened us about the new ways of looking at packaging. And thank you to CII as well for bringing us together in this session and bringing these very learned speakers to share how the world is changing in terms of the way things are to be done in the new age. So thank you, CII, and thank you to you all once again, and thank you very much. I think we can close now. But before we formally close, let me introduce the speaker for the next session, which is session 2, Mr. Pradeep Kumar Pandey. He'll be taking the next session as the session chair or session moderator. Mr. Pandey is a postgraduate diploma in packaging technology from IIP in 95-97, and a postgraduate diploma in materials management in 1999 to 2000. He has over 24 years of experience in packaging development. And his professional experience includes working with Dabur India in healthcare and pharma, working with Amway in personal home care and cosmetics, and working with Procter & Gamble Singapore in skincare, and working with Procter & Gamble Beijing China in skincare FNHC, whatever that means, and Imami Limited Kolkata in 2015. So welcome Mr. Pradeep Kumar Pandey for the next session, and I would like to thank all for inviting me, and over to Mr. Pandey.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Dr.
Mr.
Das,
Sir.
for moderating the session so well, and thank you to all the panelists of the first session. Now over to you, Mr. Pandey. The floor is all yours. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Das, and thank you, Mr. Agrawal. Thanks a lot.
Thank you very much. Yeah.
Good afternoon, everyone. It's my great honor and pleasure to be part of the third CII Packaging Summit and moderate one of the critical topics, that is sustainable packaging. Sustainability is the most talked topic today across the industries and specifically for the packaging industries. What is sustainability? The sustainability, we all know that it's a avoidance of depletion of the natural resources in order to maintain an ecological balance. In short, what and how we are